Good morning, good morning. So many people, when they make career goals, make a huge mistake. They don't plan how they're going to achieve it. And when they wonder why they don't reach their goals, well, they don't do anything to achieve it. It's simple. You can't just make the goal and it happens. You have to do something. You have to actually action some activity to make the goal happen. You have to take that action, and if you don't take action, there is no purpose in making the goal in the first place. This is James Foster in Careers Matter. So I'm aware that didn't quite sound the way I wanted it to sound. The point that I'm making there is you set a goal, you sit back, and nothing happens. If you don't do something about it, you're never going to get there. That goal will never be achieved. So this is the fourth part of my Planning Your Career series for 2021. We've already looked at two or three things now. On Monday, we started talking about the last year, what we've achieved, what we haven't achieved, what lessons we can learn, and then bin the year and move on. The next thing we looked at, have you really attained in your life what you had looked to attain in your life at this particular point? And the whole idea here is okay, let's really just have a look to see where we are right now, and where we want to be and where we want to get to. And if you remember, we looked at several different aspects of our life. But of course, this is about careers, and this is about moving your career forward. So the emphasis that I'm placing on this is, where do you want to get to by this time next year, and what have you got to do to get there? And then yesterday, have you ever set a career goal that you achieved that has come to fruition? And 90% of people, the answer is no. And the reason for that is there's no motivation. Good morning, Angela. There's no motivation to actually succeed. And the reason why there's no motivation is because they don't really know why they want to do it. It's almost like I'll set the goal because I set goals. It's like going, I'm going to give up this for the next year. I'm going to stop drinking. I'm going to stop doing this. It won't happen because there's no motivation to make it happen. And we talked about self-belief versus self-doubt. We looked at imposter syndrome, and having courage despite fear, because doing anything that's going to change your life will involve fear. Today I want to start looking at actually what you do about making it happen. So you've set yourself a goal. Let's suppose for a moment, let's take something that isn't career oriented. Let's suppose that you want to take your weight down by 20% over the year. Not an unreasonable goal. So it's realistic, it's achievable. And you've now got to actually do something about it. And this is, as I say at the start of this is a mistake people make, is they say they wanted to reduce their weight by 20%, and that's as far as it goes. If you want to reduce your weight by 20%, you've got to do something. Otherwise, the weight's going to stay there or increase. Why are you 20% more than you should be? And there's a reason for that. It's because there's things in your life that are not working to maintain the weight at what it should be. And so you look at what you've got to do and how you're going to do it. And the way to do that is to say, okay, well, what is it that impacts my weight? There's only two things that impact your weight. One is activity levels, and the other one is diet. You can talk about other things, but actually, if your calorie output exceeds your calorie input, you'll lose weight. That's a given. So within the year, you look at the two things that you've got to focus on. what's my diet, what is it, what food am I eating that is actually causing me to maintain a high level of weight or even increase it, and should I be doing more activity? And then you break yourself down in, not yourself literally, but you break the year down into 6 month, 3 month, and then each month. So I'll say that again. You break the year down to what you want to achieve within 6 months, what you want to achieve within 3 months, and then what you want to achieve for each month up to the 3 month mark. So it's increasing granularity as you get closer to today. And of course, as you move through the year, that all shifts along. So it's a rolling thing. That 6 month window goes on a month, the 3 month goes on a month, and then each month becomes the next month, as you go through it. So that you are looking at an ongoing plan of actual activity. So if you want to reduce your weight by 20% in a year, then a little bit of research will tell you that you're not going to reduce it by 10% in 6 months. You're probably going to reduce it by about 7% in 6 months. The mistake a lot of people make is they want to reduce their weight too quickly. I'm not here as a fitness coach. I'm not going to take that mantle. But they want to reduce their weight too quickly, so they go on a crash diet. And then they bounce back up again as soon as they've lost the weight. So if you do this properly, if you follow the proper guidelines for controlling things, then you look over the period of time and you go, in 6 months I want to be 7% less weight than I am now, and then over the next 6 months we'll be able to get rid of the other 13%. That sort of ratio. And so therefore, in order to do that, what changes do we need to make? What do I have to have done by 3 months? So by 3 months, I need to have got down probably by about 3%. So looking at what 20% weight loss is, how much is that in 3 months? And then what is the activity that I've got to do on a month by month basis to get there? And you're giving yourself an activity plan, an action plan, things that I'm going to do. So where am I? What things am I going to change in my diet? Do I need to do something up front that's going to be a little bit radical in order to have a bigger impact, and then moderate that a little bit as we go along? What about my physical activity? Am I going to do, how am I going to increase the rate of physical activity? What activities am I going to plan in the week? How many days do I need to plan that activity? What are you going to do? Swimming, running, walking, just going to the gym? What is it that you're going to do that is going to increase activity levels? And you put yourself the 3 month plan, with the most recent month being in quite a lot of detail, next month being slightly less, and the month after that being probably about the same as month 2. But the idea is that as you go through each week and then each month, that you tick off the activity as you go along, and you can measure and track and trace. Track and trace, yes. You can measure, track and plot the success that you're having against that, and that measuring of that success is a key factor in motivation. So as you see you're being successful, sometimes actually you don't get the initial success that you thought. If things go the wrong way to start with, but it will, if you persist at this activity, it will happen. And I know this because I've controlled my weight quite a few times. Christine, good morning. I've done this. I've got my weight down mostly through exercise, not through diet, on a number of occasions, and I find that if I stick to a certain program, it works, and it works effectively. Now let's transpose that to career. So as I said, what you need to do with your career is, so where do I want to get my career to go to, and how am I going to get to that particular point? Without sort of taking your case into specifically, we'd have to talk one-on-one to do that. But let me give you a reflection of my business, which is similar. in terms of that, that I want to get my business to the next level, that what I've got to do by 12 months from now, I'm going to look at a revenue figure. I'm going to talk about revenue run rate. That's the amount of revenue that I'm getting on an average month by month basis within 12 months. And let's suppose I want to increase my revenues by, let's give it a figure of 20%, funnily enough. So over the next year, I want to see my average revenues increase by 20%, or 25%, whatever it is. And in order to do that, there's what have I got to do to attain that, and when do I expect that will start kicking in to get that, etc., etc. There's a few actions that I've got to look at, that how to attain that 20% increased revenue. Essentially, it'll be done in one of three ways. I can either increase my fees, or I can increase my client base, numbers of client, or I can make more placements if I'm a recruiter. So I'm talking specifically recruitment activity rather than the coaching activity, because that business, the goal for that business is to get from now till then is to get it really working and functioning properly. At the moment, it's still in growth stage. I'm still kicking it off. But for my recruitment business, if I want to increase 20%, I can either do it by fees, I can do it by the number of placements I make, or I can do it by clients. And you might infer that adding clients is increasing the number of placements. So what I actually made a mistake with the way I said it. So I can either increase my fees, so I can go from, let's say I'm charging 20% per placement, or I can increase the number of placements. So if I make one placement a month at the moment, if I then make 1.5 placements a month, that's going to increase my fees. If I increase the number of clients, then I'm increasing the number of opportunities that I get to do that. So there's three things that will help me to increase my fees, if you like. So same clients, more placements, more clients, more placements, more fees. And then I will break that down and say, okay, so in 6 months, what do I need to have achieved in 6 months, in 3 months, and then per month? And then I go into the detail of how I'm going to get to it. So how am I going to increase my fees? Well, that's straightforward. I just put a number figure on it. But of course, do you know what happens as soon as I increase my fees? Clients turn around and say, no, we're not paying that. so you've got to do this in a way that is going to be sustainable. And usually if you're increasing your fees, what it actually means is you're going to be changing your clients. You're going to be moving to a different client base that will pay higher fees for your services, because there are companies out there that will do that. So maybe the decision is to increase my business. What I've got to do is I've got to change my client base. The other way I could do it is work with the same client base, and say, okay, I want to get another job out of you each month, and that will increase the level. They may turn around and say, okay, we can do that. Or they may say, actually, we're going through a constricted time at the moment in our business, and we're not seeing that we're going to increase the level of business that we're going to be able to give you. So the next thing is, okay, can I bring more of the same quality of client on? So you try to increase your client base, or you increase the quality of the clients and look at higher payers for more, shall we say, premium type of business, etc. So I don't want to go into too much detail. I've already gone into enough there. I'm sure you get the idea. But then that comes down to a figure of how many placements have I got to make a month. Let's suppose that goes that in order to make that 20% increase, then I've got to build 1.5 client placements. I've got to make 1.5 placements a month, which is a reasonable assumption as it happens. So I've got to make 1.5 placements. I suppose that's an increase from about 1.2, which is these are reasonable figures. Um, she's going to stop that phone in a minute. Anyway, the way to the way to do that then is to look at what activity that I need to be carrying out on a daily, weekly, monthly basis daily, weekly. So I've got a phone call. They've been very persistent, but sorry about that. You know, and what am I going to do, and how am I going to do that? So that's knocked me off my track for a minute. So what's the weekly activity, the monthly activity that I have to do to get to from 1.2 to 1.5? Do I increase the number of clients that I speak to? Do I increase the number of candidate send outs? Do I, you know, how am I going to get more quality candidates to put through that process? What about marketing activity? How am I going to increase that marketing activity? And what you do is you come up with a plan that says I've got to do more marketing, additional phone calls to potential clients, additional candidate marketing activity. So business marketing and candidate marketing activity are separate, if you like. So you get a detailed plan in place, and you work that detailed plan. Excuse me a minute. And so what that means is that I have got an activity set on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, that if I follow it, should see me get to my 20%, 25% increase in revenues. And I can monitor that as I'm going through each month. Is it giving me the additional scope that I need to be able to get that additional revenue in? Yes, it's a tick. We can measure it. We can measure the impact of it. Am I getting more phone calls? Are they giving me the opportunity, the additional opportunities that I need? Am I getting more candidates into jobs? Am I getting more interviews? Am I getting more from first to second interview? There's all sorts of key indicators that tell me whether or not I'm going to be successful at increasing those revenues. Now, how does that come down to a career? It's slightly different, I guess, from a business in so much that that setting a business on a revenue basis is quite straightforward. When you're looking at your career, you're looking at different quantifiable measures. What are your usual objectives that you take up with your hiring manager? Sit down with your hiring manager and talk through a plan. This is why I want to get my career. How am I going to get it there? Will you work with me to get it? What would you want to see from me? And get them to work with you to detail the plan and that sort of thing. So if you want to get to the next level, let's suppose, I've used this before, I'm a project manager, I want to get to a senior project manager. What is it that you, boss, want me to do so that I will be, by the end of this year, a senior project manager? How am I going to get that additional responsibility? What projects do I need to work on? What training do I need to get there? And work with him to set some objectives up for the year, to set some some training scheduling, to bring on some extra work for you to be able to do to increase your capabilities, etc., etc. And that's one way that I would suggest it. I'm not saying that's the same for everybody, but that's one way that I would suggest doing. And I think a good boss will work with you to do that, because they want you to see you motivated, and they want to see you to get your career to that additional level. And they're also usually very grateful when you go to them and ask them to help you to achieve your objectives. And so they're usually the ones that feel that they're the ones that are pushing this process of increasing productivity, as it were, within their department. If they see you coming to them, they're usually very grateful, and they will work with you. And in a good company, they should be a meritocracy. A good company will be a meritocracy where it will increase merit, it will increase initiative, it will reward, I should say, initiative. So those are the sorts of things that you could look at. Alternatively, if you don't see that in your company, then it might be changing job. And it might be, okay, so when am I going to be in a position to change job? Have I got the time, etc., etc. You have to look at the detail for that as well. And in a short chat like this, I can't go into the details of everything. The idea is you create a plan. And then, here's the thing, you action it. And that's what we're going to start talking about a little bit tomorrow. We're going to talk about how to take action, because it isn't that straightforward. So many times people are sitting there, they've gone through the whole process that I've talked about to date. They've even put a plan in place, and 1 month down the line, it's all gone for a ball of chalk. And there's a reason for that, and that's what we'll talk about tomorrow. So as always, there will be a link with this video that if you would like to talk to me about how you can take your career to the next level, or discuss any of these points in more detail, book a free consultation. The first one is free. After that, we can talk about what we can do and how we can work together. But there'll be a link with this video that will allow you to schedule a free call with me. Thanks very much. This is James Foster, and Careers Matter.